Okay, so if you can remember, the miso and the tonkotsu from before was, all the way up here. And so I've then pulverized it now, right? I want you to meet the cold bitch. Cold bit. I think that's what he calls it. So after about 20 hours or so, this is how it looks like. Now it's completely hard to explain to you what is happening. Essentially, a freeze dryer takes your product, freezes it. Once the sensors inside notice that it freezes, it will then rapidly cool it to like -50 degrees Fahrenheit and then start to suck out the moisture. Essentially freeze drying, and then this is how you get the instant noodles. We have 3 preparations here. We're gonna split it on the top. The left side here is the raw state. I just wanted to see what and how am I going to ship this to you. But also we have to test the cooking process too. So the raw is the small ones. Here in the middle, you can tell it's just a tad darker. It's 18 seconds, so par cooked. And then all the way in the right side, this is my spec here at the shop where I cook it to about 38-40 seconds, and to me that's cooked, and that's just enough. When it gets to you, it still has that tooth, that al dente feel, but like in alkaline noodles, not your typical pasta, because I like to have the chew is most important when you have ramen. So let me show you how it goes. Okay, and then we also have the other prep, or I should say the other stuff that we need to put the bags in. So here are heat sealable bags. Essentially you just stick it in there, and then with this machine, plastic film sealer, you just kind of press it out and it seals it. So essentially the noodles will go in a big bag, the broth will go in a small packet, and then my drama oil also in the same packet. Those will all go into the big bag, and then I haven't ordered it yet because I need the lab to give me the nutritional facts in the back. So I'm still waiting on that, but we're pretty much all set. And then to kind of finish it, we have a I want to say like a sleeve, like the cup sleeve that go on like your standard coffee cup. I'm gonna make one so that it encompasses this. So lots of, I have all the stuff on deck, so very, very exciting. Okay, so I think the hardest part will be like, because obviously we can't cook it all in one go. We have to do it in sections, so I think I'm gonna go with the raw first, and then the 18 seconds, and then the 38 seconds. And then I'm gonna let it sit for about half a minute, because like, if you think about it, that's how long usually somebody would take when you're making the ramen at home, because like it's gonna sit in a broth anyway, so it's gonna cook, and then we'll see about that. And then how I'm gonna test the cook process is I'm gonna keep on tasting every 30 seconds or so. We're gonna pull a little bit of noodle and just taste it, and then just see how the texture, and we're gonna try to keep track of the time altogether. Okay, so so you guys are aware, so I kept on tasting. This is the raw one, okay? And about a minute and a half, it tasted almost to the same consistency. There's only oil in here, that way the noodles don't stick all together. But like it almost like the noodle didn't bloom. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you put it in, usually from a raw state, I cook it and then it kind of imparts the water a little bit. This one is more akin to like, it's almost like the noodle lost his life. Okay, I have to like pull it halfway from being done. This is the 18 second. This is the 18 second one. It looks like there's a lot more bounce and chew to it. And I pulled it at 1 minute and 20 seconds. And it felt about the same consistency if I were to serve it at the shop. Still has a bite. And it kind of looks a little thicker. I mean, you can't, I'll put it side by side in a second, but it definitely looks thicker than the other one. Definitely felt a little more balanced. Okay, very interesting. So this one I had to pull even earlier. I'm gonna say the cook time on this one is almost as close to the original cook. So this cooked in about 42 seconds. So let's say 45 seconds, give or take. Okay, and this is the one from the freeze drying process, the 38-second one. I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers in your way, but this looks to be the whole. This looks like it has the most bounce, but you see how there's kind of like bubbles? I wonder what that is. Huh. I know it's not the water. It's weird. Very interesting. Texture wise though. Well, now I know why it's soapy. Because there's soap. I just ate soap. That's what it is. Okay, so let's disregard the fact. Disregard the fact that I just ate some soap. I was like, why is there bubbles? Anyway, this has the best bounce and the best chew. Almost the same spec if I were to cook it raw. So I think we're gonna go with a 38-second cook. And then once you put it in rapid boiling water, about 45 seconds, and that's when you pull it out. Man, that's really interesting. Okay, so like I mentioned before, right? I didn't refire the 38-second one because I want to get a second opinion from my other buddy. When he comes in, I'll cook it again. But from the raw, not enough bounce. It's kind of dead, and it's really brittle too when you pick it up. Like you can just, it doesn't feel good, you know? So I think we're gonna ixnay on the raw. This is the 18-second cook. I kind of like this because it gives you a little bit of leeway, but it also cooked at like 1:30. So I don't know about that just yet. Maybe we just cook it a little more. Maybe that's the golden spec. But this one, definitely the 38-second one. I mean, it feels nice and dry. I didn't cook it again, but definitely this is the way I think. But if I cook it to about, I want to say 30 seconds, then the amount of time that it kind of messes up on the cook, it shouldn't matter so much between these two. So spec wise, this is what we're gonna go with, 38 seconds. Okay, you might be asking why I'm doing that. Because I want to give a really high quality noodle, so much so that I'm using my own noodles that it's private labeled for me. I'm drying them via that freeze dryer, right there, and then giving you my same broth that I make here at the shop, also freeze dried by that guy, and that's the next step. So I have to make a couple more batches of the broth. We need to dry them out because now the next step is to like how much water or how much volume of the powder do we put for water to mimic the same taste that I have here at the shop. I don't know. So that's the next step. But for now, at least the noodles is taken care of. The drama oil, that's already set. That's already packed. That's not a big deal. We just got to tackle one more thing, and then we're almost close to shipping. So very exciting. Very, very exciting.